as a bear in the woods.
Right, come on, you fatty. Come on, fatty.
I don't even know who lives in there or what the hell's going on there.
Could I sleep in there today? Oh, no room.
And we're on the way there. Ignore the fart. We go, and a bit of that, and a bit of...
Singers, James, singers I've got. My pedal broke, man. And thanks to Showdown Bros, Mickey's on the most useless street in the world. Come on!
Always keep a shoe in your kitchen department, guys. Don't worry, it's the COVID talking. It's probably wild boar, a few bears, a lot of women washing their cars saying hi on the side of the road.
Go on, Mick, feel it, Mick, feel it. I might be going mad.
Want to see me underwear?
Alex Ellis is proving a one-lap wonder, having claimed the pole in the last 3 events. On top of that, he's earned 5 of the 6 fastest laps during that time. But in spite of all that, he's only taken the feature win once. Will he leave more points on the table in his chase to catch Hardman? We'll find out soon as we get ready to watch Round 7 of the Radical Cup Canada Winter Series. And you'll see it all live here on the Global SimRacing Channel. I am Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is IMSA driver Joey Atterbury. Behind the scenes is our director Ryan Bauer, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. The Circuit Gilles Villeneuve is a punishing track. To show you how tight it is, let's head to our track guide. Welcome to Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. Host of the Canadian Grand Prix for over 40 years, this track's popularity among fans refuses to wane. Although it has gone through a few alterations in its history, the nature of its layout has remained pretty much the same. That nature, of course, is that its 14 turns are mostly chicanes, split up by long straights to add up to a 2.7-mile street course-like canyon of a track. These 4.3 kilometers are mainly made up of actual streets on the man-made Ile Notre Dame, though portions are specifically built for the racetrack. But whether or not fans consider it a true street course, the close barriers that line the majority of the track don't care what you think. Places like the exit of Turn 4 and Turn 9 frequently collect the greedy. But these pale in infamy to the notorious Wall of Champions. Named for its penchant to collect F1 World Champions, the corner itself is called Quebec. Regardless, it's a finicky and tight chicane with a critical corner exit, so drivers are tempted into edging the car as close as they dare to the concrete. Despite the numerous heavy braking zones, passing can be difficult at times for certain types of cars. Often, attrition or cut course penalties play a bigger part in who finishes where. While sports cars and NASCAR have both made stops here, this place is mainly known for its history with Formula One. Named after what is easily Canada's most popular driver in the International Open Wheel Series, this semi-temporary circuit looks like it's actually here to stay for a long, long time. Well, Joey, this is certainly going to be a track that gobbles up a few cars, I'm pretty certain, by the time we're done with these 2 races.
Well, and it starts immediately straight away going into the turns 1 and 2 chicane complex. Always really tricky, especially when you have the cars packed together side by side, 2 by 2 for the standing start. And then really the first half of the racetrack is filled with tricky chicanes, being on your marks on the braking areas. And then it really opens up in the second half of the racetrack. And Always got to look out for that exit coming out of the hairpin, also known as turn 10. One of the most crucial corners on the racetrack as it leads all the way down the longest straightaway into that turn 13-14 chicane, also known as the Wall of Champions. We'll see who goes out there and flirts with it today.
It's claimed so many, both in the real world and in the sim world. But we have the championship, which is shaping up now that we're partway through the season, halfway through the season, really. And Andrew Hardman, despite not being there for last round, because there's so many other drivers that didn't show up to try and take advantage of his lack of attendance, and because there are so many that had poor results, he's still up at the front and by 16 points over Alex Ellis. Joey Haynes not here today, unfortunately, so that third place might be under threat. Michael Broomhead is here to try and step up a little bit. But then look down there from 5th to 9th place. Only 8 points between those drivers there in the mid-pack. So that could easily switch around before we're done with this evening. We'll keep tabs on it and see who gets the advantage in that group. But we have a teams championship as well. Joey, how's that one?
Yeah, right out front is Britannia Esports having a pretty commanding lead right now. You see 47 points out front over Atomic Racing, but that battle for second place is quite close between Atomic Racing and Evolve Sim Sports. Have to keep an eye on that. And then it falls off pretty hard to Top Gun Racing and also Ellis Engineering there inside the top 5. And further down there, you see 7th, 8th, and 9th stacked pretty closely together, only a few points separating their Team Lima, Destino Motorsports, and Auto Eclectic Motorsports. Just have to keep an eye on both races tonight.
Well, of both races, let's go to our race details. There's going to be a 15-minute sprint and then a 30-minute feature. Now, the top 10 will have themselves inverted for that feature based on their finishing order for the sprint. But it is points for both of them, more obviously for the feature race. So that's really where you want to get those good results. No spare car this evening if you wind up getting damage, which is going to be easy to do with how close the walls are at this track. Drive-through penalties at 20 incidents, and a disqualification will be at 30. But again, probably not as big of a concern as just keeping out of the walls, although there are some chicanes that can give you a cut course here. And that, honestly, will probably do more damage than getting that incident point, is having to slow down and give that time back. Before we get to the racing, we do want to mention that this is the official virtual counterpart to the real-life M-Zone Radical Cup Canada. If you're a racer looking to get into one of these thrilling machines for a test day, a race weekend, or purchase a car and join the series, contact Rob Burgess of Radical Canada at robert@radicalcanada.ca to get started. And a lot of these guys do actually race these actual cars, and very jealous of them on that one. Although it would be awful frightening to try and drive them here, as you can see from Alex Ellis, who's our provisional pole sitter, and by a decent margin. He's got a quarter of a second currently.
And we were noticing that during the pre-race, during the practice, there's a few cars down in the 1 minute 30-second range, and immediately here in qualifying, Alex Ellis jumps the provisional pole. Only one other car that I see out there, Andrew Hardman, also in the 1 minute 30, and if memory serves me correctly, both of these are the top 3 in the series points championship.
Yeah, so Hardman, who is leading the points right now, second on the track. He could lose the points lead if he has a bad day and Ellis has a very good one. But like we said, it's only been a single feature win for Ellis so far. He has had 2 sprint wins in that same time, though, once at Road America and once at Road Atlanta. But this track doesn't have road in the name, unfortunately, and he'll have to overcome that shortcoming to try and continue that trend here.
A little variation. It's got circuit in the name.
There
You know, it's just a different variation of road. But yeah, we're riding on board here with Andrew Hardman, and this is going to go down into one of the biggest passing opportunities on the racetrack, this final chicane, and we'll see how close he gets to this Wall of Champions on exit. Actually keeps it pretty conservative, as it's going to be laying down a lap time. See if he improves at all. Not quite this lap.
No, and I believe Ellis is on an out lap, if I remember correctly. So we're going to check in on Buchanan sitting in 4th, and he's going to get a little bit of a tow from Sutherland just in front of him. will this be enough to help him advance higher up the order? No. Looks like he will actually. Buchanan did take that, and he has jumped up into third now, so inside of the second row. And the higher up you can be, the better, because track position at this circuit means a lot.
Well, and I mentioned it, just the first chicane, on the initial start, it can be really hectic. And you're right, Joe, the further up in terms of track position, the less you got to worry about those cars coming in from behind.
They only have 17 out there today, so it's not going to be a huge field, but it can still get cluttered down into that first left-right that they have to experience. So Buchanan back on around, but he doesn't have the draft this time, and I'm not showing him improving. He takes a lot of curb. I can't imagine these cars are too good over the larger curbs at this place.
I wouldn't want to dare touch them, because if you get it wrong, those walls are really, really close on those corner exits. And some of these chicanes, they're third gear and not much room to save it and a lot of speed.
That's a good point. Yeah, you're going pretty quickly through them, and just the smallest hiccup can cost you in the race. Now, you will get a second car, obviously, if you wreck it in the sprint, but I wouldn't want to throw away a result in either of them, especially with how tight things are in that mid-pack. Buchanan showing about a half second off on this one, not thinking he's going to go any faster, and indeed looks like he's down that lap. Not seeing many drivers that are looking like they're going to be going quicker this time around, but we do still have these 5 minutes left to go. That said, they do not have the chance to finish their hot laps for this series. It is limited by laps, and they get 13 max. Now, I don't think they're going to be able to run through all of them over the course of this qualifying, but if you find yourself towards the end of the session, you got to make sure you know exactly where you sit time-wise, because you don't want to get caught out by it. Cedric in the 13th position is coming off the final corner and also showing a little bit slow here, so he'll have to set up for another one now.
That's a really good point, Joe. We'll have to keep an eye on the clock. Basically, once it hits a minute 30 to go, you see Cedric just have a little bit of loose there in turns 1 and 2. Basically, once it hits a minute 30, if you're not already on a lap, you're not going to get one in.
James Carter here, giving us another onboard view as he weaves his way through 6 and 7. We're keeping half an eye on Sutherland because he's looking quick, and so is Joseph Yang on this lap. So we could have some improvement at the back of the field as they continue to jockey to try and figure out where they can start this one. And you can see how tough it is as James is having to do a lot of corrections down through the chicane of 8 and 9. And Sutherland went slow through the final chicane, so he's definitely not going to get it. But Joseph Yang is looking mighty quick himself, coming up to the last chicane. Here he is in the number 55. And to the line, looking like he's going to cut off nearly a second on his lap time. 31.6, that'll do it. He's up to 8th.
Well, and Joseph Yang hasn't done very many laps in comparison. That was only a 7th lap turned here in qualifying, while I'm looking at the majority of the field, 9 and 10 laps turned. So maybe he is just getting warmed up.
Could be just getting the hang of it at this stage. I'm not even sure. Let's see. Let me check to see how many he did in practice here, because maybe, yeah, no, he did none in practice. So, yeah, Joseph Yang is kind of learning the track here as he goes, at least with this car and this weather. Not sure if maybe he could have done some earlier. Speaking of the weather, though, we haven't touched on that yet. It's a little bit scorching for Canada on the pavement today at 109 Fahrenheit.
Yeah, those, what do they have up there? Poutine? It's going to be melty over those French fries with 109 degrees, but only 75-degree ambient. It's a pretty big gap there.
It's the butter on the pancake there for the maple breakfast as it melts over the flapjacks. But back to Alex Ellis. Let's see, we're down to 2 minutes to go. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to get back in time to start one last go at things. So this might be his last lap here. He still has the pole over Hardman. and Hardman is on track. So there's still opportunity for this to change, but Hardman is way farther behind. So Andrew in the number 3 is on his last lap, I believe. Here comes Ellis down to the wall of champions, being led by Robert Ridgway. Might be a little too far ahead to give him any slipstream, though.
Yeah, he actually lifted off here. He's going to try to set up this lap, but he's going to time it very, very close across the line with 1:30 seconds left. He is going to be down to the wire, literally down to the second to try to get this lap in.
Well, it's basically going to have to be the fastest lap or he's done, because it won't count if he doesn't get a quick one out there regardless. But Hardman going to watch to see if he can do anything in this final sector, because I'm not showing him looking like he's going to improve. If he does, it'll be very marginal, and he has to make up a quarter of a second just to overtake Ellis for that top spot. That's assuming that Alex does not go faster on this last lap if he can make it. Hardman down to the line. He's improving a little bit out of the final turn, but it's not enough. He's a 10th off, and it'll be second at best for him. What about Broomhead? He's only in 5th.
It actually looks like Michael Broomhead is on a pretty quick lap right now, about a 10th or 2 faster than he's gone all session. And crucially, check this out, he's got a car in front of him, might pick up a slipstream down this long straightaway.
Yeah, that's Guillaume Hard there in the 399. It's a long ways up, but if you can feel just a little bit of it, maybe improve a 10th or 2 along the way down through that last chicane. That looked pretty good to me, although he left a bit of margin off on the side to the wall of champions. He crosses the line, and it's a 31.2. That is faster, and it'll put him into 5th.
What a lap there from Broomhead. And that's going to wrap up qualifying here. Alex Ellis did not get that final lap in.
Ellis will take the pole position regardless, and the bonus point that comes with it. Andrew Hardman will start in 2nd. Zach Buchanan will be P3, and it is Scott Bedard in 4th. Michael Broomhead, P5, as Asad Nikatembev will start 6th. John Benwilid will be P7, and Mark Boyd 8th. Row 5 sees Joseph Yang and Robert Ridgway.
There in the 11th spot, we have Dave Peterson, Guillaume Huard there in 12th, Daniel Sam in 13th, Dante Keesp in the 14th spot, Cedric O'Hayan rounding out the top 15. A couple more here, Steven Sutherland in 16th, and James Carter rounding out the 17 cars tonight.
So that makes 4 straight pole positions now for Alex Ellis. Definitely has the most of anybody so far this season. And in fact, I don't think, no, he could be caught because I believe that Hardman could take the last few poles and overtake him. Still the same weather as we saw earlier in qualifying for these drivers, so no change there. Wind has been okay-ish. They definitely don't want it to gust anymore and change direction too much for these downforce heavy cars as they wait to take the short pace lap up to the starting line. Kind of curious to see when Alex will go, Joey, because it's kind of a disadvantage in the rolling starts at this track for everybody behind.
You're right. You know, if he gets on it coming out of the chicane, you can pretty much leave the rest of the field in the dust. And I'm curious to see, each series has their own rules and how they want to dictate the start, but it is in the hands of Alex Ellis.
Taking off and trying to put some heat in the tires with a few of the drivers coming down the casino straight. And Ellis will have to try and fend off the very man he's trying to overtake in the points. Hardman starting next to him. And we'll need to see whether or not they can actually get through turns 1 and 2 clean as well, because it's certainly going to be tricky to try and stay out of trouble through there. Ellis takes them through the last chicane. He's holding speed, so he's not going early, interestingly. Waiting patiently, letting a few of them stack up, and there's the green flag. Now they can go. Someone in the background gets a very good start there in the blue and green. I think that was Nikatembev, and somebody gets spun into the wall. Another driver gets spun into the other side of the track, sliding back onto it. That looks to be Benwilid, who finds himself with the race over early. Everybody else somehow gets through the chaos.
Yeah, it looks like Benwilid and also Joseph Yang getting collected in it. I think it was Mark Boyd that came in, and he just collected another car going down into turns 3 and 4, but it looks like Alex Ellis away pretty cleanly.
It's Sutherland and Quispe who get turned around down at turn 3, unfortunately. We'll go back and take a look at those a little bit later on. Ellis leads, Hardman second, and Buchanan is in third. So no change for the podium positions, but a fantastic start for Nikatembev.
Yeah, you're right. Assad up a couple spots right now, right in the mix, chasing down, I believe, who is this right here in front of him? Zachary Buchanan. How could I forget the colors on that one?
Exactly, and coming off of Lepingle now. Everybody trying to get the good exit because it's a long, flat-out stretch all the way down into the braking for the Quebec chicane. And it's a very good run for those top 4, pulling away from Michael Broomhead back in 5th. Broomhead sitting 4th in the points right now. He needs a good result, consistent results today to try and make up some spots and get closer to the leaders.
Yeah, and it's all about those points with these rounds starting to wind down. You know, you think about all these rounds at the beginning of the season. All right, if I just do average all throughout, it's okay. But if I go up there and finish even better, you're looking pretty good when it starts to wind down here. And when you come down to only a few races remaining, it starts to get even more crucial.
So Yang is the one that first gets kind of sent off to one side here. And yeah, I saw him disappear. And then there is the other one of I think it was Boyd, we said? No, it was Benwillid that gets tipped into the side. And then I understand it was Quispe for the other incident. Are we going to watch Yang now?
So I believe it's actually Quispe that gets into the back of, or the side of Yang right there, and then into the back of Benwillid. So actually kind of a little bit of a messy turns 1 and 2 there for Dante Quispe.
And it's actually a miracle that Yang didn't get hit by more cars. Wow, just out of nowhere. He has got to be fuming after that one. And just threaded the needle. Just an unbelievable view from that onboard.
Can you imagine that, Joe? You're just standing on the brakes and slide right on by looking at everybody the wrong way.
And hardly get hit by maybe 1 or 2 cars instead of 3. If we're watching Quispe with his second problem here, and just spun the car around coming into turn 4, it appears. But Michael Broomhead just now in the double aught made a bit of contact and missed the final chicane, lost a position.
Well, it's so tricky to do, being hard on the brakes there in the final chicane. I'm sure he's not the only car. And look at that. He's got to serve the slowdown time penalty.
Yeah, so Ridgway and Peterson go by, and Broomhead's all the way down to 8th position after it looked like a pretty decent start of the race for him. They're going to hop on board with Bedard in the 5th spot. He's chasing on Nikatembev, who got that spot at the very start of the race. And now Scott wants it back.
Here's Bedard going to go drivers left on the racing line, really deep on the brake, side by side with Assad, and just gets squeezed out a little bit there in that chicane. And mentioning Scott Bedard there, I believe that he does have a pole position earlier this year. Was it Sebring, Joe, that we were talking about that? And here he goes, make a really late move on Assad.
Oh, but the over-under looks like Nikatembev's going to fight back. It was indeed Sebring that he took that pole position, didn't get it this time, and here it's just a fight to get himself that 4th spot down to the inside. Nikatembev going to fight him once more into the Wall of Champions. Hopefully they stay out of the Wall of Champions, but Assad is much better on the brakes.
Yeah, but look at this, another over-under opportunity. Here comes Bedard now in the slipstream, going to look out drivers left, heading into turns 1 and 2. Going to take it side by side once again. If Assad can hang out here, he's going to have track advantage coming out of turn 2 and maintains the position. But look at this, they've created a party behind him.
Yeah, I was just going to say, they've backed up into Peterson, Ridgway, and Broomhead. First one up is Dave Peterson in that number 35. We're going to hop on board with the American as he flings it around turn 5. Very blind corner, very fast in these cars, and no dice quite yet behind him. Broomhead's already trying to make an overtake on Ridgway, not content to sit in 8th.
Yeah, you see them dicing back there. Broomhead and Ridgway side by side right now. Looks like Broomhead's going to get that position going in here to this 3rd chicane on the racetrack. And More importantly, it's going to be coming out of, I believe it's turn 10, this hairpin, putting that power down, getting in the slipstream is going to be Ridgway with the opportunity next.
Up ahead of them, it's side by side once more with Nikotimbev and Bedard, and Nikotimbev didn't get the over-under as good of a time as he did last time. He'll switch to the outside. Remember, he was on the inside before coming down into the braking of the final chicane. So can he do it the long way around? That's going to be a hard ask. Bedard, nope, he's going to feed him out.
Yeah, it's pretty tricky here. Let's see the exit that Assad gets. He gets good throttle down and actually going to get left side. No, he thinks better of it. And here comes Dave Peterson. Might have a look down into turn 1. They're all going to stay single file here into the first chicane.
So amazingly in all of that, the only change for position was between Ridgway and Broomhead for that 7th spot. So Michael now sizes up Dave Peterson, who's no doubt distracted by that fight in front of him as they switch back and forth through 3 and 4, then try to set up for 6. Whoa, Peterson slow through there, looking off to the outside. Broomhead has to take evasive action, and that's going to cost him a chance at making the pass.
Quick hands from Broomhead to avoid there, and ooh, wow, big loose moment coming out of there again. The 0-0 really hanging on to the race car this lap.
Adrenaline's got to be going for Michael right now after those 2 moments back-to-back on this lap. He's backed off on Peterson now, giving him some more space, but clearly the pace is there, and Broomhead can make up some of these spots that he lost, and he's going to look down the inside. Is given enough down to the apex, but gets a poor exit.
Yeah, but he's in the slipstream now, and anything can happen when you're in the tow here behind, and riding on board with Broomhead, looking ahead at Dave Peterson. Is he going to be brave here into the chicane? He does look down to the inside, but Peterson really late on the brakes.
Oh, almost too late it looked like, but cutting back now, unfortunately for Broomhead, he can't get the throttle down. Neither can Ridgway. Thought he was going to have a great run on Michael there, but it all stays status quo with Peterson 6th, Broomhead 7th, and Ridgway 8th. And this has relieved a little bit of Nikotimbev's pressure, who starts to distance himself.
He does start to stretch it out a little bit. And looking at Alex Ellis right now, our leader, only 5 minutes remaining in this sprint, Joe, and he hasn't really had much pressure behind, has he?
No, Hardman's a whole 2.3 seconds off, so it's looking pretty handy. But again, we've seen that story before where he runs away with a sprint but can't seem to seal the deal when we get to the feature, and he has to overtake some cars. So maybe an old school Vettel situation where he tends to do better when he can just control the race from the get-go, as we now ride on board with Broomhead, who's got a good run coming down to Lepingle, and is once again going to be looking side by side as they approach the corner, but he's going to get boxed in because Nikotimbev is slow, and he has to go in behind and almost runs into the back of Dave Peterson. Can he at least get by Assad? No. He's going to lose touch with the car he was fighting and is now stuck behind the 23.
Well, and this all started because Assad went 4 wheels off in the chicane, and I wonder if he still has a slowdown penalty. That's why he was so slow on the racetrack, and Broomhead looking everywhere, left, right, center, trying to get around these groups of 3 cars and almost loses it himself.
And Broomhead does not have a slowdown despite him giving up some time. Maybe he did, and I just didn't get to it before the black flag went away, and both Nikotimbev and Peterson spin coming into the first chicane, and that's going to send both of them back as Ridgway laughs his way into 5th and Broomhead now into 6th.
Actually, really good avoidance from Dave Peterson. You saw Assad spin going into turn 1 there, Joe, but whoa, Dave Peterson, and now he's got his own problems in the second chicane.
What in the world? How did Peterson just, he just outbraked himself completely in that second part and then went into the barrier.
So here's the first incident. You're going to see Assad lock him up, spin, but Peterson actually avoids. Check this out. He gets in too deep. He says, oh, there's a car there. Avoids Assad, and then Peterson resumes and then just goes in way too deep here into turn 3.
He's going to have slightly different speed than he's used to, so maybe he was trying to push it and pushed a little too hard. Whatever caused it, there's the results.
Well, and I was actually going to give Peterson some props there because he seemed to have some forward brake bias dialed into these cars, and the car looked stable on the brakes in comparison to Assad.
Yeah, not exactly sure. That's a bit of a mystery to me as we once again take a look at Ellis with Hardman at that consistent 2.5 seconds back. We've got probably about 2 more laps here, and then our sprint race will be over. Hardman looking like he's content with that P2, just making sure to keep Ellis honest because Alex could still smack a wall, do something that throws the race away from here. Or get a slowdown penalty and the race could come alive. So Hardman knows that this is not over.
Well, and you always have to stay in it all the way to the checkered flag, just like what you're mentioning. You never know what can happen. And especially at this racetrack with the chicanes, it's so easy to get a time penalty or even worse, tag those corners, specifically the right rear on one of these concrete walls. And all of a sudden you got a towed out race car.
Takes it into Lepingle. You talked about this being turn 10 earlier, that its official name of Lepingle, interestingly, is French for hairpin, from what I understand. So a very creative naming system out here.
Well, it kind of looks like a Pringle can out there, just the end of one.
Oh, back with Broomhead. Oh, he cuts back much nicer than Ridgeway, and he's going to get the tow coming down the casino straight alongside the rowing lake. Doesn't look like he's as fast in a straight line, but now it starts to pick up here, and he's reeling him back in, covering off the inside, forcing him the long way around. Broomhead, side by side. They're dead even on the way into the corner. It's hard to go wheel to wheel through there, and Broomhead discovers that very thing as he does not get the position.
It's really tricky to go side by side, like you were mentioning. Just the funnels come together and there's a choke point for both lanes. It's honestly better to try to lift off if you don't have that braking dual one.
So last lap now. This is going to be the final chance for Broomhead to get into the top 5. Again, important for him to try and collect points wherever he can because his consistency has been his strength so far this season. But he's going to have to do probably a little bit better than this, or it's all going to start slipping away from him. He is hassling Ridgeway at every corner now.
He really is, and Ridgeway is one of our biggest movers. He's up 5 positions, started way back there in 10th, so this is a really good spot for him.
As they come out of 8 and 9, we've seen some moves into the hairpin. We've seen some moves out of the hairpin. Which is it going to be here? As I can report that Ellis is approaching the final chicane. Looks like Broomhead's going to set himself up for the exit, but past the wall of champions, Ellis, in his hopes of becoming a champion, is going to make up some points on Andrew Hardman by taking victory in the sprint. Hardman's going to collect 2nd place, and Buchanan with a quiet but well-deserved 3rd.
Broomhead just sent it around the outside. Is he going to get it stopped in time? No. He's going to have to serve a time penalty. It's going to be Robert Ridgeway claiming that 5th place.
Yeah, there you can see him having to slow up. If he crosses the line with that black flag still over his head, it will actually be a time penalty post-race for him. So he had to slow down enough to make sure that he wasn't going to suffer that. Ridgeway gets 5th, Broomhead 6th, Nikotimbev, unfortunately, only 7th for him. Yang, how in the world did Yang manage to finish that race? He actually in 9th place of all things. Here's your results. Ellis with the win, Hardman 2nd, and Buchanan 3rd. It was Scott Bedard in 4th, followed by Robert Ridgeway in P5. Broomhead has to settle for 6th. Assad Nikotimbev got into trouble a little bit there and wound up in 7th despite a fantastic start to the race. Daniel Salmon was 8th. Joseph Yang, again, I can't believe he finished 9th. And Guillaume Hard was rounding out your top 10.
Here in 11th place, we have John Benwilid, and then 12th, Mark Boyd, and 13th, Cedric O'Hyan. They were actually banging doors there in the Wall of Champions on the last lap. Dante Keesp there, 14th place. Dave Peterson unfortunately ended 2 laps down. James Carter and Steven Sutherland also had some problems earlier on.
Get just a short little warm up here, and then they'll grid up for the next one. And again, it is the top 10 that will be inverted for this race, so it won't be the same as what we saw there at the end. We'll go over what that pre-order is here in a second. We actually had 14 of those 17 finish on the lead lap with that one, but watch out for guys like Dave Peterson, who's going to be starting out of position on this one, because he'll have to climb from 15th to try and get a better finish. He was actually doing pretty well in that first race. He started from 11th and was relatively high up before his incident. So clearly he's good at racing for most of the race, just couldn't keep it completely clean. So it looks like they are gridding now. Let's go through that starting order of the top 10. Guillaume Huard is going to be on the pole. Joseph Yang will start from second. I'm sure he's grateful for that. Daniel Salmon will start from third. Asad Nikodenbev, P4. Then it's Broomhead in fifth and Ridgway in sixth. Scott Bedard, seventh, and Zach Buchanan, eighth. Then Andrew Hardman and Alex Ellis regrid in that fifth row. Everybody from there on down was exactly the same as what you saw in the previous screen. Well, that was an interesting one. I always like to ask this question. What did we learn from that first race, Joey? What do we go into the feature knowing that we didn't before?
Oh, man, you got to stay on top of those brake zones. If you're not on top of the brake zones, check your mirrors for others who aren't behind you. And I think the thing that I'm looking forward to, Joe, in this race is going to be the pit strategy. It's something that we didn't see in the sprint race, but it always puts another variable here into this feature.
And you got to keep your head on a swivel, both on pit in and pit out on this one. Very unique ones with the way that the braking allows you to go in deeper if you're pitting in, but you definitely don't want to run into somebody if you're trying to maximize that. And then, of course, on the pit out, you kind of get dumped right into that racing line. So could cause a few problems, and everybody's got to be heads up today as they're coming up to the start. Huard already feeling a little bit nervous, it seems. He's made the comment during the warm-up, at this point, I hate reverse grid. So I don't think he wants to be in that top spot, Joey.
Well, it's interesting. Some people like being out front, but some don't like all the pressure behind them. But no matter what, Huard's going to be looking at that green flag.
Waiting for it, and there he goes. Green flag is out. A little bit of an early start for him compared to what we saw with Ellis, and Joseph Yang got caught out by it. Salmon down to his inside as they fan out looking for an open bit of track down into this first left and then right. It looks like the center chicane does not see accidents this time.
Much cleaner start for this feature race, and no cars turned around. Oh, just as I say that, Zach Buchanan has some issues a little bit further back.
It became a cannon, unfortunately, and wound up in the wall. As look at Nikodenbev. He's into third at this stage. Oh, we got a battle for the lead as Yang's going to go around the outside of Huard.
Yeah, battle for the lead indeed. And to report back on that, Joe, it was Hardman, Ellis, and Buchanan, our championship contenders in that.
Oh, my goodness. Whoa, and we got more contact. Nikodenbev gets a little bit of a tip as it was Salmon running into both him and Guillaume Huard. So Yang leads, Nikodenbev second, Broomhead gets promoted up into third. My goodness, it's been a messy first lap.
And Broomhead just took a look on Assad there deep into the brake zone. Doesn't get the position, but right now it is all Joseph Yang. Terrible lap one, turn one of the sprint, but things have turned around for him.
Interesting to note about Alex Ellis. I went back and checked it myself on that opening incident, which we might be getting the replay for. He didn't hit another car. He did get the wall slightly, but he was trying to save his car. He was trying to stay out of Buchanan.
You're right here. Yeah, Hardman tagged Buchanan and Ellis just go wide right here, but the iRacing ice grass, it's tough, isn't it?
Yeah, and just couldn't get it slowed down in time. In fact, Ellis is already making up some positions in real time as he just went up into 13th, passing by Hardman and Benwillid. So passing Hardman, that's going to be critical. Here's Salmon and his little bit of contact, getting both of them, but Assad basically just narrowly avoided what could have been a big accident for him.
And then you see a few more funnel through. I think I see Dante Keys back there running through that chicane. And it looks like cold tires plus the brake zones can be pretty tricky if you don't have it warmed up.
Well, in the braking zone of 8 and 9, Broomhead's trying to see if he can go past Nikodembev. He looks to be the fastest in this group. Ridgway's still right there behind him as well. But Broomhead needs to dispose of Assad here so that he can chase after Joseph Yang, and hasn't been able to do so quite yet. Look at him all stacked up, 1, 2, and 3.
Crucially, Nikodembev got a really good exit out of the hairpin here and keeps Broomhead at a little bit of an arm's length distance. Michael's going to have to get really aggressive if he wants to send it here, but look at the power of this draft, and wow, very close call on a little bit of a block there.
I was going to say that was a late move from Nikodembev, and Broomhead is having to weave to try and figure out the opening once again. A little bit of a guessing game. Which side is going to be the open spot? This time he finds it, breaks deep around the outside. Can he hold it down into turn 2? Yes, he can. Job is not done yet. This is for P2 between the double aught and the 23. Great exit by Assad to continue to carry this on, but now he breaks early and Michael is through.
Yeah, Broomhead said, no, this is my position. I'm going to take it. You are not on the racing line here. And Assad actually drifts out a little wide there. Try to tuck back in behind Broomhead, start to go up and maybe make some inroads into our leader.
Yeah, I got to think from what we've seen, he should be slightly better on pace than Joseph Yang as we now ride on board with Ellis up to 11th position. And he's
Broomhead just had a mistake. And then just collected Assad as well. Broomhead's around in the wall.
We're coming up to him now. There he is. Oh, I was going to say, don't pull back onto the track. And that's checking things up big time here, as suddenly there could be a lot of positions changing down into Lepingle up in front of them. Whoa, and off the course, Buchanan yet again. This time it looks like Alex didn't have to dive off the track, as Cedric O'Hyan is just in front of him and Dave Peterson. It's becoming quite chaotic in the feature race.
Yeah, and most crucially, Alex Ellis avoids all of that. We're going to catch a replay here. This is Michael Broomhead. He just takes it too deep into the brake zone. Joe goes through the grass and ultimately ends up driver's right here.
Nikodembev just caught a piece of him for the second time in the same corner. He's had car contact and gets away with it. As we're going to watch Buchanan lose the car here. You talked about this before we came live. The braking at this track, you expected to be pretty tricky.
Well, and not only that, but Buchanan was doing a lane change while in the brake zone, and just you're telling the car to do too many things, and the rear end says, no, thank you. I'm going to go this direction. The front end's going to go the other way.
Whoa, that's Ridgway, who is going to also go the other way and winds up giving the spot to Bedard, who now takes P3. Nikodembev is still in the second spot and is once again on defense. He's been holding off what was Ridgway before, and now we'll see if Bedard can do the job that Robert couldn't.
Yeah, Bedard just had a rough chicane there, went four wheels jumping over the curb and gives Assad a little bit more of a breathing gap. And here's Alex Ellis continuing to work his way up, going by Daniel Salmon here into the hairpin.
Oh, and side by side through Lepingle, Ellis is going to be able to out-drag him, so Salmon can't hold him back. Meanwhile, they've got Peterson in there as well as they start to pick up speed. Is there damage on the front of that number 5, though? Remember, he tipped the wall a little bit at the start of this race. He comes back to defend to try and keep that inside nice and tidy and belonging to him, and he does so very well. He is going to start to stretch away.
And Joe, I can report there is damage on the front left of Alex Ellis's car from that incident with the wall. It's minor. It doesn't seem to be affecting his pace as he's coming up through the field, but now that he's got clean air in front of him and he's got to put down that ultimate lap time, might see it affect him a little bit. Curiously,
Hardman, who's still behind him, just took fastest lap. We're with a car that's ahead of him right now. This is Zach Buchanan chasing Peterson and Salmon here down into turn 6. Three-way fight for what is the 7th spot here, and now onto the backstretch along the river. I don't think anybody's close enough.
No, but you know, I gotta give a shout out to this 40 car that we're riding on board with. It seems like he's had quite an eventful race, been in the walls, been in the grass, but still out there battling for a top 10.
Absolutely. And Guillaume Huard, we don't need to go to it, spun off and got into the wall a little bit. He's gone from pole to last, unfortunately. As here we go again with another little bit side-by-side down through Lepingle, but Peterson around the outside outguns Buchanan. Now Buchanan gets the tow all the way down along the rowing lake. And we've seen a few fights into the final chicane, but will we get another one weaving back and forth to break that slipstream up in front of them? Something of the same there, as that was the number 5 trying to pull ahead, and no change for position in this group. But look at the exit from Zach.
Yeah, Buchanan already looking. Drivers left, headed down here into turn 1. Late on the brakes, Peterson shuts the door, though, as he almost gets into the back of Salmon.
And Bedard just went into pit lane with a black flag. I'm not sure if that's from incident limits or what, but he is unfortunately fallen afoul of the automatic iRacing stewards, as things have been getting fierce now between Buchanan and Peterson. It's starting to get a little personal.
They have banged doors a couple times back there, and look at this. Because of the fighting, Andrew Hardman is now pounding the back end of Zachary Buchanan. These two have to be very careful, because if they're not, Hardman's just going to drive right around both of them.
We're getting information from Bedard's team. He cut the course and didn't serve the penalty enough. If you don't give the time back that's required, you get a stop and go, which is what's happened to him. So unfortunately, it's gone from bad to worse. Big defensive move there from the bright blue car of Zach Buchanan as he's chased by Andrew Hardman. The good news for these drivers who were sent back down, top 20 get points. So everybody here today is still getting points, but it's a question of how many at this race.
Here comes Hardman side by side with Buchanan, but Buchanan still has the benefit of the slipstream in front of him. They're going to go side by side into the final chicane, getting caught up with Peterson as well. They sorted out, and now the opportunity is Buchanan's.
So Dave Peterson covers the inside naturally to try and hold him off, but Buchanan has been feisty today and unfortunately gets a little tip as Peterson spins into him, but he carries on, and somebody else was spun too. That was Cedric Ohayon, who finds himself maybe trying to avoid that spun car, and Keespay goes past. Back out onto the track, that is Bedard, I think. No, who was that we just saw? Somebody was coming through the pit lane, it looked like.
I'm not sure, but I want to make a comment here because Joseph Yang is doing an impressive job out front, Joe. Like, I know that he hasn't had anybody in his mirrors, but he's just turning off incredibly consistent lap times. His best, a 131.2. His last, a 131.4. So he is just hitting his marks out front.
And I think this is going to be the first podium that Yang has had all season long. And it could be a victory if he can just keep it together. A correction for myself, it was Dave Peterson that I saw in the background who was taking the pit exit lane as he was trying to get turned around. So that's what happened that time. As back to the 40, once again, Mr. Excitement in this race.
Yeah, and right now he's got Hardman hard in his draft. Goes a little defensive here into the final chicane and trying to find a way around Salmon in front of him while keeping Hardman behind him.
Yeah, I think that's always the tricky part, is when you are in a sandwich like that, you've got to play both defense and offense at the same time. But Daniel Salmon there, who we saw have that little bit of contact. I think actually, was it with Buchanan? No, it wasn't with Buchanan. Buchanan was the one that went off right here at turn 3.
Yeah, no, it was Hardman into the back of Buchanan at the beginning of the race that ended up collecting Ellis as well. And you're right, maybe a little bit of bad blood, because I tell you what, drivers never forget.
Yeah, it's Hardman who's behind it. It was Salmon that I was getting confused about. I couldn't remember if he was involved in that first incident, because I know he had some touch with Nikadimbev there. Coming into this turn, into 8, but here we go. Round the outside, he's given enough space, but he gets fed out. Hardman can't pass Buchanan quite yet. Hardman needs these points because Alex Ellis has been making progress where Andrew has not.
Yeah, Alex Ellis already up to 4th place and in the slipstream of Robert Ridgway going down the back straightaway. But you're right, it's really Hardman that needs to start to climb the track position ladder, and one thing to note, we're almost halfway through here, so the pit window is going to be open shortly.
Absolutely. Only Bedard has been in to serve his penalty. Huard has retired, unfortunately, after he had his incident. And following Ellis, he is caught up with Ridgway for a podium position, amazingly. And he is 8.3 seconds behind Yang, and it does look like he's faster than him.
He's definitely faster. Alex Ellis has been the only car in the 1-minute 30s in this feature race, and our leader, 1-minute 31.8.
Ridgway, I think, lifted and let him by.
Is that what happened right there?
Yeah, because he just suddenly slowed. That's a bad place to do it. It's turn 5 where it curves and is blind and you have no idea what's coming around the corner. And yeah, it's not the place I would have chosen, but it worked out well anyways. And now Ellis is into the top 3.
Well, that just gives clean air to Alex Ellis. Put the visor down, get to work out there.
Hardman's still trying everything to overtake Buchanan, but can't seem to get the job done. Both of them seem to be faster than Salmon as well, but neither has made the overtake. Buchanan is looking for the inside. He's going to go all the way to the inside. Maybe are we going to get a 3 wide coming down to the corner? Not quite, but it does open him to be vulnerable as he spins the tires up off of Lepingle. Hardman is now going to be hard charging down the rowing lake.
Let's see which side he picks. He goes driver's left again, and this hasn't been the winning side, but can he clear Buchanan before the brake zone? It looks like he does.
He does indeed. Buchanan just about gets into the back of him, but does not touch, I don't think. Boy, it was close. So Hardman now sets his sights onto Salmon. In fact, he sets him on right away. Salmon knows it. He covers the inside line as it looks like we've got Ellis in the pit lane. I can tell you that Hardman rather did get that position and is now into 5th.
Yeah, he got right around Daniel Salmon. Pretty good power move on the brakes around the outside of turn 1. And now Andrew Hardman, you already see him stretching out the gap.
Now, we knew about the little bit of damage on Ellis. He probably didn't know if he had any damage, though, because he couldn't see that unless he had a spotter letting him know. Buchanan versus Salmon now coming out of turn 7 and onto the backstretch. And looks like he's not going to be able to be close enough to attack this time. Now, the interesting thing about Ellis is I was going to say, I wonder if he came in to potentially try and repair damage if he felt like he was slow in a straight line, because if so, it could still bite him. He's behind a little bit of traffic.
Yeah, he's just going to get around Dante Keesp right now, but you're right. That's one of the dangers of pitting earlier is that it puts you back into the traffic when you really want to be out in clean air, just kind of turning off consistent lap times, just like how Joseph Yang is doing right now. A beautiful piece of racetrack.
Yeah, the best hope for Ellis is that he can use whatever clear track he can find to jump Yang before Joseph comes in and pits. However, Boyd and Nikotimbev are the latest to take their service. Only need fuel and should be able to duck on out as he hits his marks. So he tops up for the final 7 laps of this race. Still haven't seen Ridgway, Hardman, Buchanan, and Salmon pit in. It looks like Ohayon is also pitting. And back out of the track. Oh, and speaking of Buchanan, did he get Salmon finally? Looks like he did it.
Yeah, he did. He did the same move that Hardman did on Salmon the previous lap going into turn 1, and Salmon tried to over-under going into turn 3, but looks like Buchanan firmly in 4th now.
Ooh, okay, we're getting some information from Ellis's team. We're seeing 1 minute and 30 seconds of optional repairs. So yeah, that is some significant damage there that he's got. Oh, we're going to have contact yet again. No, they're going to get away with it. Once again, man, Buchanan has not had any rest this whole race. He's certainly gotten his heart rate up, I have no doubt.
No, and Daniel Salmon is being one tough customer out there. When he was out front, he was playing some big defensive lines, and now that these cars have gotten around him, he has taken his opportunities with the lunges in the brake zone. It's kind of nice not having the pressure in the rear view. You get to do it this time.
Still no pit stop for Joseph Yang. Ridgway stays out. Hardman does as well as Buchanan. I was going to say, now's the time to come in. No, they're going to bang doors. And it looks like Buchanan will stay in fourth. But he and Salmon, he's going to give it the position up. He is going to relinquish it, thinking that that one is owed to the 659.
Yeah, I wonder here if we're going to get a little bit of extracurricular activity. We're getting the number 8 coming down, John Benwilid, into pit road here, but Salmon and Buchanan are still going at it going into turn 3.
Like I said, I don't know why in that situation, being on the outside, that Buchanan didn't just say, okay, time to pit in and give him a bad lap while I save time trying to brake late. And they're once again going to have contact coming through 6 and 7, and they are going to get away with it. But look behind them. That is Alex Ellis, and this is the last thing he needs right now.
Well, this is what I was talking about. Daniel Salmon going really defensive and really late into the brakes, avoids Alex Ellis, but Alex was definitely the faster car there, and Daniel Salmon not wanting anybody to get around him tonight.
Ellis is really in the danger zone with all of this. He can't throw away some good points with his rival Hardman well behind him. Not necessarily on track right now, but strategically he will wind up behind this number 5 car. It's not likely to be a win, I don't think, at this stage, but he could get himself a nice podium to rack up more points and cut in to that points lead. As they break down into the corner, there you go. That is the visual difference between braking for the chicane or not braking for the pits.
Well, and I held my breath right there because Daniel Salmon was not staying on the racetrack and Alex Ellis was, and you see the overlap that they had. Thankfully, no contact between the two.
But Yang still didn't pit. He's going as long as possible. Still waiting on Ridgway and Hardman as well. So Ellis, now the highest driver to have pitted, up to 4th spots. And let's see, 26 seconds behind. I don't know what the full bogey time is.
It's going to be close, Joe, because Alex Ellis has been turned. Now, granted, he's been caught up in traffic, like you were mentioning. Maybe not the best strategy in terms of leapfrogging forward, but he's continuing to be the fastest car on the racetrack when he's got clean air.
Absolutely is. As they fly down along the rowing lake once again, that's some lap traffic. That's not for position. That's Ohion. And yes, good timing once again, as there goes Joseph Yang into pit lane. This will give us the clearest picture. Ellis is coming out of Lepingle right now. That's how quickly Joseph has got to get in and out.
Well, and I see Robert Ridgway in second place also coming down pit lane. And look at this, Andrew Hardman, all of our top 3 runners pit lane.
Must be the end of the pit window for our drivers. Good stop is about 8.5 seconds for these drivers. So watching it tick up. Ooh, 7.2 for Yang. Excellent stop, especially compared to Ellis. Where is Alex? He's coming out what looks to be about 3 seconds behind him. The race is not over, but Alex is gonna have to hustle.
Yeah, look at this though, all the way up into the 2nd place position. Alex Ellis, we mentioned the pit stop strategy might not be the best to work through the field, but he's made the most of it, and now the race is on.
I'd say he's wringing the most he can out of the car. Did you see that tail wiggle out of turn 4? That's not a corner where you want to get loose, and yet he is still just pushing it at 10 tenths. It's down to 2.8 seconds, well, really 3.5 laps to go at this stage.
Now, this is where Joseph Yang has to turn off his mirrors. You know, reach up there, just turn it the other way, turn off your relative. Just go out there, hit your marks. Don't even think about what's coming up behind you.
Ellis is going to have to average about 0.5 seconds a lap faster than Joseph Yang here just to catch up to him, let alone pass. Can he manage that as they approach down towards the rowing lake? It is already down to about 2.6 seconds. I want to give credit to Nikadimbev, who's been in plenty of adventures himself, I'd say, is still running in 3rd spot here.
Yeah, really good run for Assad. I know that he's had to fend off quite a few challengers between both the sprint and the feature, but has really stayed consistent.
Won't get a clear telling of that one for Yang since he just came out of pit lane. But for Ellis, it was a 31.2. He had a 31.5, a 32.1, and a 31.1 over the last few laps before that. So obviously it was a little inconsistent with the traffic, but now it's nothing but clear skies in front of him.
Yeah, and it's important not to overdo it. You want to think, I got to put down qualifying laps, but you also have to remember you're on old tires. It's the end of the race. You're not quite mentally as sharp as when you first started, and take what you can get, keep chipping it away, and then see where you're at.
It's down to 1.8 seconds. So that's a full second that he's chopped off since about a lap and a half ago. I think he's got the pace, but we've seen some great defensive runs from other drivers before, and I can't think that Joseph Yang is just going to throw this one away. He's going to fight for it.
I would imagine so, and if I was the driver of the 55, you've been out front all race. This is your race. Why would you just hand it away? I'm going to fight for it.
And he just got on the radio and says, I'm not going to fight too hard. So, well, what do we know? Joseph Yang apparently just wants to get a good finish, and they're going to come down to 2 laps to go here. 1.3 seconds between them. Again, Alex Ellis has only managed to get 1 feature race win in the last 3 races where he's been dominating pole and fastest lap. Looks like even with the hard times that he's had in this one, he's not letting it stop him.
If I'm Joseph Yang out front, you know, I might not fight too hard, but if he doesn't catch me, I don't have to fight at all.
Exactly. Well, last lap, the comparison, Yang was a 32.6, Ellis 31.3. Oof. 1.3 seconds faster than him that time. It's down to 0.9 of a second by that measure. By the end of this lap, Ellis should be there.
Yeah, and you see he's just getting really good exits out of all these corners, getting the drive off, and that's how you get fast around here at Circuit Villeneuve, is getting the top speed down the straightaway.
Joseph Yang, who's led the vast majority of this race, was gridded up in second, was taken out at the very beginning of the sprint, didn't even get to the first corner before he got pushed into the side, and there's the crack showing, unfortunately, as he sends it deep down into Lapingo, locking it up. Looks like it didn't cost him too much, because I think Ellis was also a little bit wide.
Yeah, but I'm seeing he's flirting with that draft zone right about 1 second back from Joseph Yang. I think this is right about the point that you're starting to get a little bit of help from that air.
And Ellis is going to need it. We got to remember, he was supposed to need about 1.5 minutes worth of time to replace the damage on the nose of that car. And if he is lacking a little bit of straight line speed, he's going to need one heck of a run to overtake Yang.
Oh, Yang really deep.
Oh no, and that's going to bring Ellis right up on top of him. Can Ellis somehow steal this away after being, and he's going to let him through. He's letting him through on the last lap. Ellis is your new leader.
That was what you're talking about. Joseph Yang came on the radio a couple laps ago and said, I'm not going to fight this for the win. And I thought that Joseph Yang was going to keep that pace out front, but just a couple mistakes brought Alex Ellis right up to his back bumper.
I mean, I consider myself a pretty conservative driver and just take the good finish. I would have fought this one. I would have been going tooth and nail to try and bring home a feature win. So many valuable points, and a lot harder to take those feature wins than it is those sprint races, as Ellis is going to claim another one in his hunt for Hardman. Hardman looking at 5th place for this race. So this is probably going to swing heavily in favor of that number 5 in the championship hunt after this one. But what a race. For all that we're talking about Joseph Yang and leading so much of it, Alex Ellis came from so far back off the track trying to avoid a wreck, hit the wall even, and in spite of that, in spite of damage on the car, he's come back to take the win here in the feature race.
Impressive race. You see Joseph Yang come across second, and Hassan Nikanovev going to hang on for that final podium spot.
Not too far ahead of Ridgway as well. That was half a second between them. Hardman only 5th here, so we'll try and figure out that point situation in a bit. Boyd, who we didn't really get to cover all that much, is down in 6th here today, so good job to him. And a car that probably looks like it's just gotten out of Bristol, Zach Buchanan, against all odds, is going to get a 7th.
Well, and talk about Zach Buchanan and Daniel Salmon, who just crossed an 8th. They battled it out all race. I hope they're happy and smiling because they were side by side for lap after lap out there.
I mean, I was smiling. That was so much fun to watch. But we're going to take a quick break. We'll come back with the unofficial results as well as driver interviews. Make sure and stick around.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
There's a bear in the woods.
Right, come on, you fatty. Come on, fatty.
I don't even know who lives in there or what the hell's going on there.
Could I sleep in there today? Oh, no room.
And we're on the way there. Ignore the farm. We go a bit of that, a bit of that.
Sangers, James, Sangers I've got.
My pedal broke, man.
And thanks to Show That Bros, Mickey's on the most useless street in the world. Come on!
Always keep a shoe in your kitchen department, guys. Don't worry, it's the COVID talking. It's probably wild boar, a few bears, a lot of women washing their cars saying hi on the side of the road.
Go on, Mick, feel it, Mick, feel it, feel it. I might be going mad.
Want to see me underwear?
Welcome back to Montreal. It was a stunning race here for the feature. Just all action all the time. And Alex Ellis has gone from the very back of the field at the middle of the first lap to the win here today. It was ahead of Joseph Yang, who did help him a little bit. Joseph didn't fight him, lifted to let him through on that last lap, but I think Joey and I are in agreement that Yang probably had the pace to take that win if he would have tried to hold on. Nikodim Bev got himself a valuable third as Robert Ridgway was fourth, and then Andrew Hardman, who came in leading the championship, is going to see those 16 points cut down significantly here today, as he only finished fifth in the feature. Mark Boyd was P6, climbing up from 12th position. He did a good job on that. Zach Buchanan has made some friends out there today and finished in seventh. Daniel Salmon was P8 with that battle that he had with Buchanan all throughout. Michael Broomhead was ninth today, and then Dante Quispe, we didn't get to check in with him a lot, but he did climb back up to a top 10.
They're in 11th spot. Scott Bedard. 12th, we have James Carter. 13th, John Bedwellid. Cedric O'Hyan back there in 14th. Steven Sutherland, and then Dave Peterson. Problems early on, as well as Guillaume Hard several laps down.
It looks like we've got our winner in both the feature and the sprint ready to talk to us. It's Alex Ellis. And Alex, by the exit of turn 4, you were 17th out of 17 cars, and somehow you're the winner today. How did you do that?
Yeah, it was tough, but that was a shame on lap 1. Basically, I was all clear, and then I heard a crunch. I looked in my mirror, and I saw cars flying at me. So I thought that if I turned in, I was going to get smoked. So basically just avoided turning in and tried to stop the car, but ran onto the grass, and there was absolutely no grip on the grass. And it was so frustrating because I knew I was going to make slight contact with the wall left front, but it was like 2 or 3 kilometers an hour. It was so slow, but I saw the nose crunch in like 3 inches, like a pretty significant amount. So I knew I had damage. So that was why my strategy when I came in early, I came in about 5 laps early. I was specifically trying to fix the damage because I knew I was way down. Like I wasn't even getting 6th gear on the back straight. So I was losing like over a second. And decided to come in because I had previously gotten like a 2-second damage in the past that fixed really quickly, and I was back to 100%. So I was hoping it was that, but when I came in, it was a minute and a half of repairs. So then when I came back out, I pushed. I don't know if you guys saw my in lap, but it was ridiculous. The braking for pit in, I was all crossed up trying to stop the car because I knew I had to make up as much time as possible. And then just tried to grind. I was taking about a second out of the leaders, and so I just tried to keep doing that every lap. And I didn't think I'd get there, but I did. So it was good.
You know, we made a lot of talk about coming into this race, how you've taken so many fastest laps, so many pole positions in the last few rounds, but you've only had one feature race up to now win, and then a lot of sprint wins. What made the difference today that you were able to change that and take the big one?
To be honest, I think it was I stayed in a really good headspace today, so I knew that I had a pace advantage over my rivals. So on the first lap, I was much more patient than I have been in the past. I still got bit, but I wasn't trying to pass 6 guys into one corner at one time kind of thing. So I think a little bit of the self-preservation approach helped, and just basically staying calm, cool, and collected in the car, I think definitely helped tonight. No mistakes.
Usually this place is a little bit hard to pass at. You seem to have proved that wrong. If you could do that again at Sonoma, because if you get that sprint win, you're going to have to come back from 10th again. How are you going to fare out in California?
Oh, I love that place. So, yeah, little fun fact. Sonoma was actually my home track in real life in Formula 3 in 2010. And then I also raced Indy Lights there in real life. So I probably have, I don't know, maybe 500 laps there in aero downforce cars. So I love that place. Looking forward to some fun racing there because, like you said, it's another place that's very difficult to pass. So I'm going to have to get very creative. There's a couple spots where there will be some crossover moves, and you might even see around the outside going up the hill, turn 1. So pretty excited for that one.
I'm going to keep an eye out for that. Alex, congratulations. This was an impressive run today, and go enjoy a well-earned victory.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
Alex Ellis, your winner in both the sprint and the feature. Up next, though, I believe Joey has caught up with Joseph Yang, who finished second.
Well, Joseph, congratulations on the second place finish here in the feature race. I know the first race didn't go according to plan, but got to feel good about the finishing result here in this 30-minute.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. My first podium in this series. I'm very excited about it. I mean, although I really wanted to try for the win because the gap that I had ahead of Alex in the last lap was just about the gap that he had in terms of pace. But then again, I just knew that I had to really keep the gap as much as I can because like once you're about like a 3-4 tenths ahead of someone, you can really get sucked in with the drafting. So, and then yeah, I got a little too pressured and greedy. Blew turn 2, getting a little too deep and locked up, and that that made me sort of second guess my braking point into the first chicane, because when you have a flat spot into the chicane, the car really won't turn properly. So I think I gave Alex a little too much room, to be honest. But yeah, it is what it is. Alex definitely had the pace on me. So congratulations to him, and I'm really happy with the result.
I think you're giving Alex Ellis too much credit out there. I thought you drove a heck of a race. And honestly, let me tell you something. Did you know that Alex Ellis had damage on the front end of his car? And I think you probably could have held him off. I didn't know if you knew that piece of info.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, well, he was definitely complaining about it, that he was down on top end speed. So maybe for next time, keep on chugging out there, because I think you had this one for sure.
Yeah. I just decided to take the safe way into my first podium. Said, maybe I should have fought.
Well, I mean, you're right. It is your first podium, and you got to feel great about that. And it's not at the sprint; it's here in the feature. And looking forward to Sonoma, a very, very different racetrack. But you're riding the momentum now. How do you feel going into that track?
Pretty exciting. To be honest, I'm not the most familiar with that track, but just gotta practice, I guess. We'll see.
Yeah, practice indeed. And before I let you go, is there anybody that you want to say hi to?
I want to say hi to my driver Connor in real life, who I engineer for, and yeah, thanks to all the organizers for putting the series together. It's been so much fun so far.
Well, that was Joseph Yang. Big points day and also first podium for that number 55.
Yeah, big congrats to him on that. Asad Nakatembev, though, with us, who had plenty of adventures in both races, especially in that feature. Asad, how many 0X and 4Xs came up on your screen? Because I'm pretty sure we counted 2 or 3 times that you had car contact throughout there.
Yep. I had a few close calls, some contacts, but overall, I think I did not have any damage. I had the pace, and yeah, I think it was about 2 or 3.
Well, you managed to survive that, and you wound up in 3rd place. Did you kind of expect that that Alex would jump you in the pit stops when you saw him dive off? Because surely you had to see him coming up behind at some point there midway through the race.
Yep. I did expect him to be in front of me because I pitted later, like about a lap after him, and I knew that he was faster, so he would have the jump on me. So once I got out, I was about right behind him. So yeah.
All worked out at the end, at least with a podium. What are your thoughts on how the races went today in general, though? Because both definitely had plenty of chaotic moments that we were covering, and it seemed like you definitely seemed to find them pretty often.
Yep, there were some very close moments. One that I do really remember was when Michael was right in front of me, and then he slid a little bit, and then I was like maybe 0.1 inches away from hitting him. It was a very close one, but yeah, I managed to drive safe, keep my head down, and yeah, I managed to get through the incidents.
Well, a bit of a late entry into the series, but your first podium. Congratulations. Anybody you want to thank?
Yep, thank you. And I want to thank you, my sponsors, Proformance and 4425 Motorsports. I want to thank them so much. And my dad and my mom and my entire family for making this happen.
Was Asad Nakatembev there in 3rd place today. And up next, a real quick one. One of the drivers in that Buchanan Salmon battle that we saw, Joey, has caught up with Daniel Salmon.
Well, Daniel Salmon, I hope that you are smiling ear to ear after this race, because you and Zach Buchanan went at it the whole time.
Oh yeah, we're shooting the breeze in the Discord like, what a fight! Like, what a fight. Just absolutely amazing. We both had a bit of damage and stuff like that. And, like, I knew I didn't have pace, and I'm thinking, okay, I'm a rolling roadblock, but at least I'm good at it, right? So, like, Andrew's coming up. I'm like, okay, try and hold on. And Dave's coming up, and then Dave kind of goes off, and I'm like, okay, that's relief. It's bought me, like, maybe half a lap. And Zach comes in as a go, and I'm like, all right, okay, see how long we can drag this out. And then it just kept going. I'm like, oh, great. This is awesome. Like, what a race. Like, what a fantastic race. Like, once he was ahead and got a gap, he was gone, like, bye-bye now. But, you know, it was fun while it lasted.
Well, yeah, you mentioned it. It was fun while it lasted. It wasn't just Buchanan, but it was Peterson, a whole bunch of people in there, and looking forward to Sonoma. I know that you're always in the mix out there with some exciting racing. And before I let you go, is there anybody that you want to say hi to?
Yeah, I want to thank the gold level sponsors again. We got Falcon Autosport. They're good for track days in Ontario, like near Toronto, like Grand Bend's one of their. Snap-on, Tim Hortons. We also got somebody who donated from American Red Cross. I think I might have got them all. We got somebody in Top Gun Racing as well. He hasn't decided what he wants his name on the car or anything yet, but all those people, thank you very much. Thank you to you guys as well for doing a great job with the broadcast, Mike for organising it, and Zach definitely, and also Cedric as well. It was good this week. I actually got to have a battle with people, you know, rather than just kind of hold on and wait for the inevitable. So yeah, Cedric, thank you for that battle, and definitely Zach as well. That was awesome. Just awesome. Like, thank you very much.
Yeah, well, it was a great race, and we definitely are looking forward to the next one. That was Daniel Salmon coming home 8th today.
Thanks, guys.
No shortage of entertainment for this event, but we do have to wrap it up. So a big thank you once again to the series for bringing us on, for covering this one, and also to the team today, Ryan, Joey, and Dougie. Make sure to check out our social media, our website, and our merchandise store. But also don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss a moment here on GSRC. The next race, as we mentioned, heading off to California for Sonoma, Friday, March 17th at 9 p.m. Eastern. But be sure to check out our other broadcasts that we have listed here. And until next time, race clean, race hard. We'll see you on the track.